All right, so now we are in the 28th practical lessons, and we are going to design something like this. Maybe not the best design, but I've been struggling to find a good image to use, but I'm going to design it anyway. So we are going to design like a creative art cover design. So the title, Code Case Secrets, and then we're going to use the Gaudi Old Style and then League Gothic fonts. And we have, let's create a new document size. So let's use any of the ones that we've used before. So let's click on this and just use that. So now we have a Kindle cover size, and we are going to use these images, and I'm trying to find an image to use, but I can't get. So I have this EPS file, and I'm going to, so this is what it looks like. I'm trying to, what I need is this torn part, just like this one, and this is another image. I want to create a cover with that looks like a torn, like a part of the background is torn. So I believe you've seen that a lot. So this is what I'm going to use, and the lower part of the design I'm also going to use one, but I can't find a good one. So I'm going to first, let me add something like a background color. So I'm just going to draw out a rectangle on that rectangle, because I need the background to have another background. So that's why I'm adding that. So, and I want it to be red. So I'm going to open this. This is a good torn paper that I got online, so I can sample that color, and I'm going to use that color later. So let me drag it into on top of the red, and because the background is red, the other one is red, it creates something like this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to resize it. I'm going to resize that, and I'm going to change the color mode. So I want it to be black. So I am going to maybe subtract. I believe subtract or difference will work well. But let us start from the top and see any. Okay, yeah, of course difference will work, exclusion will work a bit, then subtract. I want it to be pitch black, so in this group subtract will work well, and that's why I added that red background. So now I'm going to copy this color that I just sampled, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to add it here. So I want that color better than, maybe I should make it a little bit darker. So what I want to do now is add some vignettes on the edges. So like I said, you should always have a lot of this saved. So I'm going to select one of them that I have on my system, and I will drag it and put it on, and then I'm going to rotate that, Control T or Command T, hold down the Shift key to make sure it's straight, and I can drag out. So don't hold down the Shift key this time around, because we want to, and then check, and now we have that vignette, and we can maybe reduce the opacity if we wanted, and you can see the before, the after. So it looks okay. So now I'm going to group these three together and call it images. Or background images, BG images. So, and okay, so now we're done with that. So now I'm going to import this image, and I want the torn part of that image. So Control T or Command T to reduce, hold down the Shift key, and and I only want the torn part inside the torn part with the eyes, and we need to eliminate the outer white area. So one way to do that is to select any of the lasso tool. If we try to change we will not get a good result. We will not get a good result. So I think the best way to do is to use any of the selection tool and just select the subject, and of course make sure you can zoom in and add this other part. So we need to select every part of including all the inner part of the torn area. So just continue to add these areas. I'm using the quick selection tool, by the way, so that is the tool that will work best in that set. So you can zoom in more and add more of that, because I want that area to show. So once every part is selected, I'm going to click on the select subject and mask that area. So now, no, Control Z or Command Z to go back. So once I'm done with that, I will mask that area. So I could select and mask, or I could just add a mask, layer mask right beside, and it will be masked. And you can see this image is a poor quality image. Actually, you can see it's kind of dull, or maybe because we're zoomed in. So I'm going to use it anyway. So I'm still going to select the mask, and I'm going to use maybe the polygonal lasso tool, and I want to create a shadow, by the way. So I'm going to add an empty layer, and I'm going to drag the empty layer below that layer. So, and I'm going to start I'll draw out a shape. I want to add a shadow, so we need to add the shape. We need to follow the edge of the torn area. So this is the area where I want, and then I'm going to close it. So it's going to look like the light is coming in from the right. So I'm going to drag to the top like so, and then close it. So the old shadow will be on the left, so it's like the light is coming from the right. So now once I've done that, I'm going to fill that with some color. So I will select the brush tool, and then I'll just paint with the foreground color. So the foreground color now is black. Just paint on that area, and you can see we've painted that with black. So, and Control D or Command D to deselect, and now you can see, we can't see it because of the black, but I can reduce the opacity so that it's not actually deep black and it looks like a shadow. So now you can see, I wish the black is not there. You see what it looks like, but let's just create something. And now we need to add the text. So now the title is Cold Case Secret. So we are going to add it in 3 layers. So double click that and make the color white. And the font, I'm going to make it the old style, Gaudi old style, then bold, and I can duplicate that and Control J, Command J to duplicate, and I'm going to type over that and drag that to and you can see they are not the same because there are different letters. I could double click that and increase the size. I want the width to be the same, and I'm going to drag so now let me add a guide on the left and the side and the right side, because now I want to make sure that the widths are the same. So use the arrow tool, and now I'm going to now I could use double click and increase the size, maybe 141, 142. And it is okay. So now the last part is the secrets. And let's make that regular and decrease the size about 82. Yeah, 82 looks okay. So now we can move that down a little bit. Just click on the down arrow, and now it looks, so I can group the three together and move them up. So now the other part, which is the subtitle, I'm going to copy that and I'm going to use the Leak Gothic font this time around. Now I'll move it up. So I will make the color black or white. Let's leave it white. So now that is done. So the lower part is where we are going to add the author name. And what I want to do is to add the author name inside another torn, something like a torn paper. So I will paste in there and I will and I'm going to import the other torn paper, so just to make it look cooler. So I can't find another one, so I'm using this EPS file. So we are going to open Illustrator. So just double click. If you have Illustrator on your system, then just double click. We are not going to do anything that you can do if you don't know how to use Illustrator. I could use this one, but the result is not good. So I will use this one, and all you need to do is just open the group, and then we're going to turn off the text. And this group is where we have the torn paper. So if you open the group, let's turn off the yellow background and then turn off things. You can see this layer is this one. That's the layer. We need that layer. And then this is the inner layer. So I could change the color to maybe black because I want it to be black. So that's a folded area. That layer is a folded, and this area is the inner layer, and then you can see we can select that layer. So make sure you select that layer, and then you can click on the color and then double click this color and give it a color. So that's how to change the color of any layer in Illustrator. So now that it's painted and we're done, so we need to group all the visible layers. So just drag something out from the outside to select all the layers, and then Control C or Command C to copy, Control V, Command V to paste, and then you select Smart Object and then click OK. And let's drag it to and now I can just resize it however I want. Until I'm okay with the results, and now I can change the color of this folded area to white, which means I need to probably go back to Illustrator and change the color of that area and before I bring it in. But I'm just going to leave it as it is. I don't want, let me just leave it the way it is. I will, okay. So I could double click and change and then save again, and then it will reflect back in Photoshop. So, but I think I'm just going to leave it the way it is, and I am done with this design. So now it's time to just arrange things. You can close this, and like I said, I could just change the color, save, and then it will reflect here, but we can just leave things the way they are without messing things up. So now I'm going to select everything and then center them. So all the text and including the tone, so make sure everything is centered. But you can see, because of the shape of that tone vector marks, it doesn't look like it's centered. So let me drag that below the author name and maybe make some readjustments. Then this layer could move it above, then move this one to the top, then these two together, group it together as the author name, so as author. Then this, the title, then let me move that to the left, even though it's not in the center, but because of the shape of the tone area, so we need to make sure it's in the center of the black area. So let me move both to the right. Okay, so that's the best way to do that, otherwise it's not going to fit. So now I will save, and maybe one more thing, the title, let me move it up. Then the top image, and now it looks okay. So I'm going to save as a creative art cover design, and I'm going to save the JPEG. So there are many ways you can do book design. So this is just one of them, and like the other 19. So you can just experiment with different, different images, different elements, combine elements together to create anything creative. You understand? So, and then just combine things and you will. So this is not the best design, but you can create something similar to this and it will look okay. So this is the end of the practical lessons. Like I said before, from time to time I'll be adding more and more designs to the practical lessons. So anytime I'll create more and then add it, so you can always come back. And of course, you always get a notification if I've added another video on another design. So you always get notification. So always come back, then download the video, watch the video. You also get all the exercise file for every design. So I hope you like this video. On to the next video.